This is so cool. It's just hard to fathom, like, how long ago and how deep and rushing water that had to come through here to carve all of this, especially since it's just a little trickle. And the layers of rock and the sandstone and the waves in the rock. It's just really amazing.
We just got done hiking about 2 miles or so into Willis Creek Slot Canyon, which is in the Bryce Canyon area of Utah.
It's technically in the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument.
But found
it's near Bryce.
Because you found it while researching Bryce.
Yes.
And somebody had suggested checking out this Slot Canyon, and then you kept talking about it. So we were like, all right, let's go. And we had to take a kind of long dirt road. Has a sign on it that says high clearance 4x4 recommended, but it was fine.
And impassable when wet, and
I think
all the scary things.
I think that's key. It's dry right now, so we didn't have any problem with the van, but if it was wet, I wouldn't have even tried it.
No. There are a lot of slot canyons in the greater Utah, Arizona area. You've probably heard of some of the more famous ones. And a lot of those, you have to have a guide because it's very narrow and protected and hard to get into. But this one is pretty much wide open. Because it's in the National Monument, it's free as long as you can get your vehicle up here. And then you just hike down the trailhead. And you said we hiked 2 miles, and it's 2 miles in and 2 miles out. It's actually, the whole trail itself is 2.5 miles. We ended up stopping a little bit early to come back. But you could go the full 2.5 miles and, for a round trip of 5. But it's really, really pretty in here.
Wow. This is cool. Oh, goodness.
Well, you said we stopped a little bit early. Yeah, we did about 2 miles in, and we went to where this Slot Canyon connects with Everett Canyon. And to me, that seemed like a good stopping place to turn around. So that, and it's 2 miles in if you want to hike that far, and you got to hike another 2 miles out. The trail itself, though, is relatively easy.
It is. It's, depending on what time of year you come, there's going to be water. It's Willis Creek, and there is water. So you're splashing through water. We had our waterproof hiking boots on, and, you got a little bit wet. Now, a lot of other people that we saw here on the trail today had Keens or Teva sandals or some sort of waterproof shoes, and they were just splashing through the creek because it's shallow. I mean, it's like just a couple inches. So it's not a big deal, but you are going to get kind of wet at some point.
Well, and I was going to say, you mentioned Keens or Teva. You want something that's got a decent grip on it. So you don't want to come down here in flip-flops. But yeah, if you want to just wear open sandals, as long as you got something that's got a grip, because there's plenty of rocks you're going to be kind of walking over and through the water, and you don't want to slip. But, there's not like there's huge elevation changes, and, it's a relatively flat trail. And so, but it's just beautiful and amazing in there when you start to, and to me, it's sort of a, you can kind of choose how far you want to go and choose what you want to see. Because right from the beginning, you're starting to see some of the Slot Canyon. We're right up near the beginning, near the trailhead here. But then the further you go in, the bigger the slots get.
Yeah, and the walls just keep getting higher and higher. Oh, and a bug just went in my ear.
Oh, yeah, and there's little bugs here for some reason. So if you stop long enough, you'll have bugs on you. It could be a time of year thing, too, because we are here in June?
Early June.
I don't even know what day it is, let alone what month. So that is something to keep in mind, though. So if you can't do 2 miles in and 4 miles total, if you only want to do a mile in, you want to do half mile in, you are going to see something cool. I think no matter how far you go, it's just the further you go, you're seeing different things.
Well, and once you get to Everett Canyon, we had read that there are no more slot canyons after that, which is why we chose to stop, because we were a little short on time, knew we needed to get back, and we had seen all of the slot part of this canyon. Now, it's still gorgeous no matter what you see, and make sure you look up, make sure you look back, make sure you look around, don't trip over anything, but there's a couple little waterfalls where you can kind of if you got your water shoes on, it's better to sneak your way in. Again, it's all flat, but that's where, you're going to get a little wet if you go in there. But check it out because it's just really pretty. What we noticed here and that I had read is that this canyon is more black and brown than it is the red that you might see in other slot canyons. And it's just the difference in the type of sandstone that this area was created out of. But the slot canyon itself is still magnificent. And like you said, they just get taller the more you go. Well, for reference, I am just shy of 5 feet, and you know your wingspan is your height, so that means that this canyon is also just shy of 5 feet. So I think the narrowest here is about 4 feet across. Now you're gonna get some other slot canyons that are like super narrow, squeezy. So this is one that I think pretty much anybody can do.
This is a prime example to me of, we kept hearing about Utah and, you got to hit the big 5, the national parks, and how amazing they are. But remember, Mother Nature doesn't look at a line on a map and say, okay, I'm going to stop now because it's outside the national park. And yes, this is part of the Escalante National Monument, that kind of thing. But my point here is that this was not super crowded. It's kind of overwhelming and underrated, right? In a lot of ways.
I mean, we've saw maybe 15 people total today, like little kids to, maybe a grandma and grandpa, but like literally 15 people total. That's all we've seen today.
So it's one of those where if you can't, get to one of the big national parks, there's so many things to see in Utah that are just beautiful and amazing on their own. What's the slogan? Utah rocks, and there's a reason for that. So if you can, get to Utah and think about things outside the national parks and see what else there is to see out here. In the meantime, keep on trekking.
And we'll see you out there.